Okay. So this is kind of some of the background of the stuff that we're dealing with. And by George, our friend George, huge player in this step 1, 2, 3, these stages. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. So let's go look at the horoscope. So that doctor, I did not watch all of his testimony. I was, like many, were having a lot of difficult times with that, but it did catch me that he said in that moment is when he passed. So that is at 8:24 p.m. in Minneapolis, Minnesota on May 25th. And there are several things that just leapt out to me. Like, I finally was able to look at this chart. Usually when I'm looking at a chart and it's pointing to someone passing away, I usually look to the water signs, this area, and this house, the 4th, 8th, and 12th houses. Because you'll see a lot of activity there. You can kind of see the triggers that kind of set up for someone passing away. Again, in this moment in time, in Minneapolis, in the eastern horizon, where the sun rises, the sign of Sagittarius was coming over the eastern horizon. The sun reached its high point that day. We have 21 Virgo at the top of the chart. I find that interesting because Virgo owns this real estate over here, which has to do with the public servant, day-to-day activity. It has to do with our military. So police officers, they're public servants. And so the sun was just about ready to set here in the western horizon. When I was looking at the asteroids, I was like, holy crap, we're back at the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Because there was this asteroid that just, wait till you guys hear this, that just took my breath away. And it was at 17 degrees Leo. 17 degrees Leo is such an important part for us for this entire time as we restructure from the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Because in that moment in Washington, D.C., the moon was below the horizon. We couldn't see it, but it was down here in the 5th house, which, you know, this is actually, Leo owns this territory. The moon was in the 5th house. This is the 5th house of the sun. When I think of George Floyd and this moon in Leo in this 5th house, I think of him as like a king, like royalty. Whenever he comes to mind, and I see him in my mind's eye like right now, he just made me smile. He is sitting on such a huge, magnificent throne with his staff. He just, God, he's so beautiful. So handsome, so larger. I mean, he was a big guy. Like, imagine, like, bigger than that. On his throne with like really deep navy blue crystal robe or something, and you can kind of see the stars twinkling through his skin. But he's still very dark. He's so handsome. So I always think of King George. He's big. I thought that Kobe Bryant, when he passed away and he came, I thought he was, no, George Floyd. Huge. Like Sandolphin huge. So in this chart for the United States of America, when you have a horoscope of a nation, the sun represents the leader, the moon represents the people. So in this moment that he passed at 17 degrees Leo, we the people, was the asteroid Astrea. She is the 5th largest asteroid out there. She is known as the Star Maiden. Wait till you hear this. I'm going to have to get my notes. So Astrea is named for a Greek goddess of justice and harmony. She has to do with mortality. She has to do with perfection, purity, innocence. She tended to see things black and white, but she had very high ideals, very high morals. But she supposedly was here during the time of the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is the time that I always refer to as the last time we had such a huge Saturn-Pluto conjunction 7,000 years ago. Well, this is her time that she originates as a Greek goddess for justice and harmony. She was around the time of Homer's Iliad. So during this time, the Bronze Age, she could not handle how bad things seemed to be. There was a lot of wickedness going on. And so she just bailed from Earth. She left and became the Star Maiden. The Star Maiden has high ideals. She has high passion. She has very high moral grounds, and she always champions the underground. But some of the drawbacks is that she might not have a lot of resilience. She might not be grounded. She might not have the will for endurance. So she has very strong ideals. And Astrea in your chart usually shows how one decides to weigh their options in a situation and then choose the best action that fits with one's values and one's beliefs. So here we have George, his last breaths. Here's Astrea. People USA, are you the Star Maiden? Which side are you going to be on with your values? Are you going to be enlightened by this? Because the other thing that happened, we have the Star Maiden here. In that moment, we now have Poseidon has just broken through on the cusp of this 12th house of secrets and hidden enemies to this area that has to do with our friends and our wishes. So in that moment, the people on the ground can feel these things shift. Poseidon now erupts, like comes up from the depths of the ocean and rushes forth with all this emotional energy, all this water in this area of our friends and wishes. And with Poseidon then, Poseidon does stuff for us to see things, to be enlightened. Poseidon causes a great awakening in the consciousness of human. This Poseidon in a positively aspected way is like a freedom fighter. It's like, you can only hurt me so much and we're going to surge forth because now we are enlightened. We see what happened. And so that's a positive Poseidon. Negative Poseidon are the ones there that try to swindle people, try to brainwash people. They like to hurt others. So it's like we were seeing two sides of a coin of Poseidon and enlightenment. One side was the rush with the people, seeing what happened. What are we going to do? We are fully awake. We see what we've seen. Before that, we could see a willingness to hurt someone, with Virgo at the top of the chart of a public servant. So there are those two things. But then, get this. You guys with me so far? So then I'm looking at this and I'm like, holy heck, this Atropos is at 8 degrees Gemini. 8 degrees Gemini is the United States natal Uranus, the planet of innovation, the revolutionary, the humanistic person, the one that has sudden shocking news, shocking fated events, like out of the clear blue sky. So this asteroid is activating now United States Uranus of something very shocking happening. And what Atropos, or I don't know the correct way to say this asteroid is the third dark aspect of the three fates. It is known as the cutter of the cord of life. This is where, in a birth chart, shows how and where we bring our fate to its inevitable conclusion, and how we cut the life thread when we experience endings, loss, closure, and death. So here we have the Star Maiden. George Floyd, it's time. I can't breathe. He passes. This dark Poseidon that is manipulating us through a public servant, suddenly we feel the rush of Poseidon as a freedom fighter, enlightening us all to what really happened. And this area, we the people, suddenly were shocked because his life is taken from him. The cord was cut. He was done. But after death, though, with Atropos comes new life. That's like the finality of it. And then the third thing, and then the last thing I saw here, because yesterday, the Mars was at 29 degrees Gemini, so it was activating all this 29 degrees north node stuff from last year. We had the verdict this week. Mars was at 29 Gemini this whole time, so the north node, life's purpose, the way that we flow from eclipse point to eclipse point, this was set up back then. And here is this asteroid, the Sphinx, in Egypt. This one was kind of, gave me chills. Sphinx was discovered August 1st, 1918. So the Sphinx is noted for treachery. Jeffrey Epstein, the Sphinx is conjunct his natal sun. So the Sphinx is noted for treachery, mercilessness, and viciousness. The Sphinx would lie in wait for travelers and then pounce on them and then propose a riddle to them. If they could answer correctly, they were freed. But if they could not, they were devoured instantly. So the Sphinx is a creature. It has the head of a woman, a body of a lion, the wings of a bird, a serpentine tail. It's mysterious. It is impenetrable. The Sphinx is where secrets are guarded. It's where one faces challenges and guards their life. The Sphinx is where you hang on to your information and your secrets, and you will only reveal what needs to be known at the right time. And I can't help but think that during all this time, I just got a nod, yep. What George Floyd knew in his life, when the cord was cut from his life and he was a Star Maiden, that the details of what would happen would have to wait until this trial, until we came back to the North Node with this Mars and Gemini 29, because it takes that long for things to happen and build up. So these were the things that stuck out. Oh my gosh. This, I don't know what to think about this, but this is important. Coincidentally, the asteroid Russia was in the 5th house of the sun. at 10 degrees Taurus. Do you know what's at 10 degrees Taurus right now? The planet Uranus. Venus just passed. I think Venus is at 11 Taurus. Right now, Mercury is at 9 Taurus. Donald's Pluto, his power. Oh my, I just got it. Basically, the verdict with George Floyd put to bed Donald's Law and Order fame. That's what he used to run on. It's done. It's done. He can't run on that anymore. That it's dead. Pluto. It's dead. I just so my God. So like I think that when he passed, the other thing that happened, Neptune just went under the lower heaven, everything beneath their feet. Neptune is that planet that can be inspirational. It can be so incredibly healing. I feel like that there was a lot of healing with the verdict this week. But when everything shifted, we have Poseidon coming up from the depths of the ocean, which is he holds his trident, Neptune. These are related. All of us in this area of hopes, wishes, friends, your dreams, humanity, Poseidon rushes in and everyone's awakened and enlightened. We all saw what happened. And in that moment, the planet Neptune goes under their feet in this third house, neighborhoods, communications. Mars is right there. People are angry. They are hurt. And they march right away. They don't forget. They are bathed in this emotional moment that is really connecting them. And I think this is why, because Neptune, the planet, it is endless. It has no endings. And the protests, they rippled out around the world. It wasn't just here. It was worldwide. And so that's just, that was his moment when he passed. How symbolic. Somebody said he didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. You know what? He was doing what he was supposed to do. Life, live, humanity. Be a star maiden and a shining star for where we need to go at the 7,000-year Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Who else could pull that off? Master. Okay. George Floyd, the King of Wands. What do you want us to know, George? What do you want us to know? What happened here? I want cards here. What happened here? Here. Oh, he wants this star maiden for what? We the people. Strength, you guys. Count on your strength. He's saying you guys stronger than you could ever know. He knew everybody was this strong. He was strong. I don't know how to communicate this. Somehow that he knew we would be this strong, that we would be able to handle this. Like this strength is like beyond the strength of a gravitational force of a planet, like the galactic center of the universe. That big black hole, that much strength. We're going to get there. One foot in front of the other. We're going to get there. Have faith. This part at your moment of your passing, the neighborhood, the groundswell, he has value. He's a man of value, leadership. He knew he was that valuable. People valued his life. And they put out a call because of the value of a black man's life. We all saw in a moment that call went out. That's why it went worldwide. I have got chicken skin, you guys. The 11th house, Poseidon, the awakening of us all. The news traveled quickly. The news traveled of legends. It traveled because here, Sagittarius on the ascendant, this is the sign of other lands. This is also the sign of law enforcement and the law. To our friends worldwide, we all saw, we all knew. The star Maiden, my God, the timing. The timing is everything. Momentum. I'm seeing wishes that are made, hopes that are made. Bigger picture. What are we aiming for? The star Maiden. It is too painful to deal with this stuff. There will be more that join with him. We're strong. We can get there. Between each other, that was the common thing that we all shared. The pain, the betrayal, the Sphinx that keeps abusing us and devouring us, the pain of law enforcement is kind of like the Sphinx on the road, the treachery. I'm going to tell you a riddle. If you answer it correctly, you will live. If you don't, I'm going to devour you and take your life. The Sphinx. That is crazy. Thank you, George. Thank you, George. Oh my gosh, that was just, I'm so glad I shared that with you guys. How are you doing? How you doing?